Hey guys, this is Brock from Command, and today we're applying the 80-20 rule to mental health, to anxiety and depression. There are two top things I'd recommend to improve your anxiety and depression. The first one is exercise, which has been shown to be more effective at treating anxiety and depression compared to SSRI and SNRI medications. And the second thing is counseling. Counseling helps us deconstruct the way that we're perceiving reality. It changes and corrects our narrative, how we're viewing difficult things in life, how we're thinking about them, and how we're thinking about our role in being responsible for the hard things. When somebody can come in and give you the objective truth of how you're seeing things and what the truth is, versus you're seeing everything through the lens of worry and fear, it's very, very powerful. And so we can get armed with the truth so that we can see more clearly, and we know we can simplify what we really need to do. It's very, very helpful. A few other things to consider for anxiety and depression. One would be sleep. Sleep is very important for the recovery of our nervous system and our psychological health. And so maintaining a good sleep and wake time, sleeping in a cold, dark room, perhaps trying some supplementation to help improve your sleep quality can go a long way in improving your mental health. Other things to consider would be meditation and mindfulness, as well as breath work. One of the most effective ways, if not the most effective way at temporarily reducing anxiety is to do kind of the double inhale technique, where we take a big breath with our mouth, and then at the very top of the inhalation, we do a forced inhalation of a little extra air, and then we exhale all of that air slowly. And when that carbon dioxide leaves our body, our anxiety levels will start to just drop down as our nervous system gets pushed from more of a survival sympathetic drive to more of a restful state, the parasympathetic drive of our nervous system. So that's one that you can try. Other considerations for anxiety and depression. We're going to talk about the spiritual element for a little bit. For those who are interested and want to hear a little bit about the Christian perspective on mental health, and this is not all encompassing, but we'll hit some highlights. So there are three verses, three passages that I think are some of the most helpful in addressing anxiety. The first one is 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and self-control. And so this helps reset our understanding of what fear is. Fear is not the voice of God trying to get our attention that something horrible is about to happen in our lives, and so we should dwell in fear all the time. God does not give us a spirit of fear, nor is the spirit of fear a truthful and empowering and good way to think about things. Worst case scenario thinking all the time, feeling that sense of impending doom, like things are going to go horribly wrong. The spirit of fear is not from God, and it's not the voice of reason. So we have to see it for what it is at the get-go. The second passage is Philippians 4, verses 5 through 8. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Be anxious for nothing, but in all things make your needs known to the Lord, step 1, with thanksgiving, step 2. And the peace of the Lord that surpasses understanding will be yours in Jesus Christ. This tells us that peace actually comes from Jesus. It's found in Jesus, and it's not the peace that we figure out in our minds. The peace of the Lord is the kind that comes from being honest about our situation and about our worries, and actually taking our needs and our worries and entrusting them to God instead of entrusting them to ourselves, that we need to figure out how to do everything perfectly and make sure that the best possible outcome happens. So it's giving that control back to God, who's actually on the throne. And we're not on the throne, right? So we make our needs known to the Lord, which requires humility and being very honest. But we do it with thanksgiving, with deep gratitude, with acknowledgement of that God is the good shepherd and that He is working out all things for our good, for those that love Him and are called according to His purpose, like it says in Scripture. And when we give those things over to the Lord with thanksgiving, we find rest in Jesus. The last passage is Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6, which is trust in the Lord with all of your heart and do not lean on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge or submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. So in these passages, we find joy, we find peace, we find that the next step after casting our cares on the Lord with thanksgiving, that it's submitting to Him it's trusting Him with all our hearts and submitting to Him in everything. So we focus on what's ahead of us, what's in front of us. We focus on submitting to Him in every area of our life, so that He can establish our steps, He can make our path straight, because we want to try to make our path straight, but we don't have the capacity to do that because we're not God. So that kind of ties back into counseling, right? We need the truth spoken to us. We need the truth in our hearts. And that will help push fear away, because fear is a bunch of lies that are mixed with enough truth to convince us that they're real, right? Maybe the worst case scenario really is going to happen, and so I should be worried about that and live in a state of fear, right? We need to speak the truth in our hearts. And spiritually speaking, the way to flee the devil and draw near to the Lord is to entrust our cares to the Lord with thanksgiving, to run to Him in His peace and His trust, and to put Him back on the throne in our hearts, so to speak. And there's peace and there's joy there. And when we just focus on submitting to Him, He makes our path straight. So there is great relief there. As the chaos of life and concerns bubble up, we start to drown in water, and we feel a great burden. And I'm convinced that the distance between fully trusting God and where we tend to live, that the distance between those two correlates with the amount of burden that we feel when we're under our own yoke of control and trying to make sure everything works out perfectly and that we avoid the worst case scenarios. Meanwhile, Jesus says, "Come to me, you who are weary and heavy laden, and you will find rest, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And so think about that gap of trusting God versus where we are, and how much of a psychological and physical burden we feel when we try to carry our own yoke and we try to carry the weight of the world and the weight of our own world by ourselves, right? So I hope that was encouraging to you all. As always, consult your primary care provider to discuss your mental health before you make any changes. But I thought that might be encouraging for you all to hear, because it's an extremely common struggle to have anxiety and or depression. Everyone has experienced it, everyone. And so I hope that was helpful. On a completely unrelated note, our featured medical service at Command is laser treatment. We have a laser in the office. We can do laser hair removal. We can treat acne scars. We can treat cherry hemangiomas and rosacea and various things. So if you'd like any more information on that, please contact our office and we'll send you information, get you in contact with the folks that run the machine in our office, and we'll see how we might be able to help you out. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you.